Hello and welcome back. This is the Lost Adventure, and today we're going to go over the small module, The Jade Hare, which is a small 8-page adventure about what happens to a mad warlock when he steals a small, tiny jade statuette. For those who have yet to subscribe, please do. It does encourage me to make more videos, seeing that people actually like listening to these things. The Jade Hare was released back in 1992 and was written by John Nephew, who was also the author of PC1 Tall Tales of the Weefolk and assisted in writing Castle Greyhawk. By released in 1992, I may be exaggerating that a little bit. This adventure wasn't actually sold. It was a giveaway that TSR gave to anybody that made mail orders at the time. It's actually a pretty rare adventure module to actually get your hands on because, well, there's not much in it. People probably threw it away back then. So, this adventure is designed for 4 to 6 players of level 1. And the background is it's pretty light. So, there's this Jade Hare statuette that's the last sole remaining statue that the villagers of this place called Dar el Tamea kept after a prophet, Al-Khalim, came over and told them to disregard all of their idols and throw them away and only worship their one true God. Let's go ahead and remove religion out of it. The main part of the storyline is this is an ancient jade statuette that is supposedly maybe magical. There's rumors that it may be a magical item. Anyways, this story consists of eventually a group of goblins raid the village, and instead of killing anybody, they decided they were going to steal this jade statuette. They caused all the havoc, went to the town/village, and just stole this one item. Nobody died, nobody was hurt. That's all they took. The villagers find this odd, and that's when the person that was taking care of the statuette, called Abdullah, remembers that an old man came over and offered him a large sum of gold for said item, and when he was refused, kind of stormed off angry. Once Abdullah describes the man who got angry, other villagers recognize the description as a mad hermit called Abu Gabar, who is supposedly a warlock, so this is where the mad warlock comes in. A trader ends up informing the players also that he's delivered supplies to the location that Abu Gabar stays at, and he can point it out. It's about 10 miles away in the hills. Now, for the Dungeon Master background, it does tell the DM that Abu Gabar has taken the statue because he believes it is a magically enchanted item from an ancient empire, and if he can unlock its secrets, he'll have access to unlimited power. The players then make their way towards the location where this Abu Gabar is supposedly staying, and this leads to a small dungeon track through a 13-section dungeon. This entire adventure is maybe a 1 or 2 hour, side trip, or maybe an introductory adventure to bring in new players. Most of the enemies you're going to run into are going to be goblins, though there is a bugbear, there's a hobgoblin, and there is a small gargoyle. Now, John does include a wandering monsters list for characters as they're going through this small dungeon. It's got a fire beetle, giant centipedes, giant crab spiders, giant rats, ghouls, and goblins. More goblins. But let's go ahead and get to that map. Now, as we're looking at this map, you'll notice that there's 3 locations that are actually lettered G. These stand for guard posts. Each one of these guard posts only have 1 goblin in it, and those goblins have a 40% chance to be asleep when the players find them. Number 1 is actually a bat cavern. This is occupied by 47 different bats, and the entire floor is covered in bat guano. If the players actually take the time to dig through the bat guano, there is a 5% chance that they'll be rewarded with a small piece of amber that's worth about 50 gold pieces. The bats themselves, numbering 47 of them, don't do any damage, but they do cause confusion, and a confused character has a -2 to hit rolls, saving throws, and cannot cast spells. If the players wander upon this entrance during the day, all the bats will be asleep and will be awoken only by commotion. However, if they come at night, they'll be there. Location 2 is a storage room. There's a list of mundane items that will be here for players to pick from. It's not that much stuff, but they may find some of it useful. Section 3 is the kitchen, which consists of a hobgoblin cook and his goblin assistant, and they're preparing a meal for the successful mission of obtaining the Jade Hare. And the meal itself is rabbit stew. 4 is the dining hall. Nothing is in the dining hall. It's unoccupied. Section 5 is where the players are probably going to have the most difficulty. This is the Goblin Barracks and is currently occupied by 8 goblins. Beyond the 8 goblins themselves, there is 14 separate beds inside this room, along with storage containers for each bed. And the contents of the storage containers consist of a bunch of minor stuff. However, one apparently has a potion of invisibility inside of it. Number 6 is merely a spring. There's nothing magical about it. It's just, good, clean, cool water. 7 is a spike trap. Not a pit trap, a spike trap. A spike shoots out of the ground and stabs players in their feet. The effects of the trap is 1d4 hit points of damage. The character suffers half movement and has a -2 to his armor class. Number 8 is a small chamber that is currently occupied by 2 yellow molds and the corpse of a goblin. Number 9 is the residence of Abu Ghabar's lieutenant, who happens to be a bugbear. A bugbear that's equipped with a battle axe +1. He could cause some damage to the players, or the players could be smart and mob up on him at once. This will be a slightly dangerous encounter for level 1 players. Number 10 is a laboratory. In this lab, there's currently the results of multiple attempts to make potions, 4 specifically, and all of them are failed attempts. John includes the effects for each of the 4 potions should the players decide they want to try them. It's nothing too bad, but it will be slightly humorous. Room number 11 is Abu Ghabar's chamber himself. Abu Ghabar, the Mad Warlock, is a level 4 magic user, and he has an astounding amount of 10 hit points. It does offer some tactics for Abu Ghabar during the fight. He'll try to heal himself, turn invisible, or use a secret escape tunnel to get away from the players if he's able to. He also has, though with 10 hit points, I don't see him surviving very long against any amount of player characters. 12 is the secret tunnel that Abu will have used if he was able to escape from the players. If the players decide to use this tunnel, it just takes them about 120 yards off the map to a hillside exit that's hidden in the shrubs. And number 13 is the prize that all the players are seeking. This is the treasure room. This treasure room, however, is also occupied by Abu Ghabar's pet gargoyle. It's a younger gargoyle, so it doesn't do as much damage as like a full-size gargoyle, but it's still immune to any damage caused from something that isn't magical or isn't a magical weapon. Once they defeat this gargoyle, they'll have access to the treasure, which consists of like a decent amount of coins, not enough to get the player characters up another level. But you have these coins, there's also Abu Ghabar's spellbook that a magic user could find useful, and the Jade Hare itself can be located inside this room. The players end up returning back to Dar el Tamea, returning the Jade Hare, and everybody's happy. At least that's how the story's supposed to end. Should the Mad Warlock have survived the battle, though I don't really see that happening, he will continue to harass the players throughout the rest of their careers as adventurers. I personally don't see him as a very good, continual enemy threat, but you could always throw him in as like a side bad guy or someone else's lieutenant, I guess. Now, this adventure isn't anything to write home about. It's very small, it doesn't have that much of a storyline, it's very basic, but it's something that a younger dungeon master could use to, let them step into the world of Dungeons & Dragons. Same thing for the players. I mean, there's not much deadliness here. I mean, the 8 goblins may prove to be a little difficult, and the bugbear may kill 1 or 2 of them, but it's not that bad. For ratings, the adventure itself is going to get a rating of 2 out of 5, and it's only getting 2 because there's actually some semblance of a storyline inside this thing. This is definitely designed as something to be like a side trek for your players, or just kind of, get the imagination juices flowing. For value, I would not suggest buying the actual physical copy because that's going to be expensive. However, you can get it at the DM's Guild for about $2. I'll put a link down in the description, or you guys can go ahead and order it if you wish to. For deadliness factor, this is getting a 2. I mean, it maybe even deserves a 1. But a 2 is good enough. I mean, there's a deadly encounter in here. The thing's only 8 pages. You can't expect much out of this thing. It was given away as a freebie almost back in the early 90s. And with that, I'm going to end this review. I hope this helps somebody out there, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye.